Today I'm going to show you how I make goat cheese truffles. This is a super easy appetizer that I use throughout the year, but they're perfect for New Year's. And I will also talk a little bit about how I change up the ingredients so they can be used for different holidays. If you're new here, this is the Culinary Cam YouTube channel. My name is Kamala, and I hope to inspire you to get into the kitchen, use the ingredients that you have, and make a delicious mess. Okay, I am really excited to show you how to make these goat cheese truffles. So, they're just a couple of ingredients. This is 8 ounces of cream cheese, 8 ounces of goat cheese, and this goat cheese already has some herbs and spices in it. You can buy a plain version and then add your own herbs and spices, but this one has garlic and herbs already in it. You're going to need, so that's the inside of the goat cheese truffle. And then you're gonna need what you're gonna put on the outside. And this is where it can be a little bit flexible. So for New Year's, I still wanted to go with the red and green. So I have fresh herbs that I'm going to chop up. And then I have red. And here you can either do dried cranberries, which is what I'm going to use. Dried hibiscus are really cool looking, and you just chop those up. And then you wanna add a little bit of texture. And so I have pecans. So where it's a little bit flexible is you can use any kind of nut you have. I've done this with pistachios, I've done it with walnuts, whatever nuts you have. Dried fruit, if you wanted to do not a holiday scheme and you wanted something orange, dried apricots are fantastic. And then for the herbs, these are herbs from our garden. We have a mixture of mint, fennel, oregano, and thyme, but you can use whatever green you have. So if you have basil or parsley, use that. Okay, let's get started. So I have a mixing bowl, and I'm just going to put in my cheese. So that's 8 ounces of cream cheese, 8 ounces of goat cheese, and then I am going to zest a little bit of lemon. So this is organic, and I've already washed it. And I'm just gonna microplane a little bit of the zest in here for flavor. Okay, so I wanted to tell you a little bit about these tools that I have because I use them all the time and I love them. So for this recipe, I used a microplane and I used a scoop. And just a couple of reasons why I like these. They're both stainless steel, which means that they're easy to clean, easy to sterilize, and they're durable. I am really, really hard on my items, kitchen items, every item. And these I have had for over a year. So this scoop is really versatile. I used it obviously for the cheese truffles. I use this every time I bake cookies because it's consistent and it's easy to use. I love that it is a scoop and one motion. I just squeeze and they're consistent. The balls are always the same size, which helps when I'm baking cookies. The timing is always the same, and for these truffles, they just look uniform. And then this, I really don't like unitaskers or things in my kitchen that only do one thing. So this I use all the time. You saw that I used it to grate citrus. I also put this on the table when we have pasta and to grate hard cheeses, so Parmesan, and then it is great for spices. I really like using this when I'm grating a cinnamon stick into a recipe for cookies or something like that, or nutmeg. And I'm not really precise, it's just sort of what it looks like, and that's the look that I want, the amount that I want. And then I'm just gonna take a hand blender and just mix it up. So it gets nice and combined. Now, if you have the cheese at room temperature, it's going to be a little bit easier to blend, but then you'll have to decide if it's the right texture for rolling. So I'm gonna put this to the side, and then I'm gonna get the toppings and what we're gonna roll these in. So I have 1/3 of a cup of chopped nuts, and then I have 1/3 of a cup of cranberries, dried cranberries. But I'm gonna chop these up just a little bit so they kind of match the texture of the, or the size of the pecans, because you sort of want a uniform coating on your truffles. And I had mentioned that this is a great appetizer for other holidays. So one of the reasons I brought out the hibiscus was to show you another dried red fruit, but for Valentine's, I have actually dyed my goat cheese with a little bit of beet juice, and then the coating has actually been all red. So the hibiscus and the cranberries all rolled together with some parsley. Okay, so now these, as I said, these are herbs from our garden, but just use whatever herbs you have. Just give them a nice little rinse and make sure they're dried off. So there you can see, that's what we're going to roll the truffles in. So equal parts chopped nuts, dried fruit, and the herbs. I'm just going to mix that together. And if you find that you have more cheese than topping, you just use those same proportions and create more. But that's what you're going to use. So now you take your cheese filling, and I really like to use a scoop. So I will say from time to time, I'm going to point out products that I use and love. And I'll drop a link in the description below so that if you want to buy this for yourself, you can use the link. And we do get a small commission if you choose to purchase that way, but it doesn't cost you anything extra, and we really appreciate the support. So take your scoop, and you're just going to scoop that cheese straight into the topping. I usually do 3 at a time. You can do 1 at a time. So you just take that cheese, and then you're just going to roll it in the coating. And you just want it nice and covered. And you can press it with your hands if you like, or you can leave it kind of loose. And then you're just going to put it on a plate. Okay. And there you have it. Goat cheese truffles, super easy, just a few ingredients, and really flexible, so you can change up the toppings and use this throughout the year. I really hope that this video inspires you. If it has, please click like, and I would love to hear from you in the comments if you make this recipe. Use what you have, get into the kitchen, and make a delicious mess.